And now the Scottish version. Welcome to the TURDIS. Yes, on the outside it's just a tiny little accordion, a strange instrument invented by accident almost in the 19th century, planet Earth. In Austria, actually. In Austria, the accordion was invented by Cyril van Diemen. Yes, it was a complete demon who invented this instrument. In 1829 it was patented, although there were some various strange versions of it. Around before. Anyway, can't be any stranger than what's been left with 200 years later. What is this strange reason? Anyway, the TURDIS, the tunes that are upset and songs. Oh God, I can't even remember what it stands for in my little message last night. Never mind, you can read it. I'll read it again later. Anyway, the TURDIS is very small on the outside, but look, it's giant on the inside. Yes, it's the inside of the TURDIS. And I, of course. Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor Who. Yes, those of you have been very excitedly messaging me this morning that you remember, even older ones, the William Hartnell. That makes me feel very young. Martin Haddon, thank you. Name Haddon remembers the very first episode with William Hartnell, very first Doctor. And then was Patrick Troughton. He was a big fish in the Doctor Stakes. Excuse me for that one. And he was followed by John Pertwee. Actually, I remember John Pertwee. He was actually the first Doctor that I saw, but most of my childhood was spent watching Tom Baker, who became the, with a capital T, Doctor for me. So yeah, that's who I'm dressed as today. And these ginger sideburns have been brought into play for, I think, the 4th or 5th time this year on these strange episodes. This is Sandy and Sunday, by the way, if you're wondering what the hell you're watching. This is a highbrow intellectual cultural show about Scottish music. Well, we do play some Scottish tunes in between all the silly stuff. As you can see, I'm accompanied by K9. No longer do I need to worry about the loss of my little doggy Toki. By the way, I got a message from Toki. He worked out how to email me. It's amazing. He's doing fine. It's just my message went into his little kennel spam folder. There he is. Look, there he's in Canada. Look at that giant box of doggy biscuits behind him. He doesn't need my tiny little bones anymore. No. He's not just about tiny bones. He's got giant dog biscuits there in Canada where everything is bigger. Look, this, because it's a robot dog, K9. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Sandy. Delicious. He doesn't actually have to, I don't have to buy any bones at all because he's just, he's a robot. Doesn't need food. This is amazing. Look, he's self-propelled. He's got his own running device. They're called wheels. And this is his motor. It's called the handle. I can't believe I found this in the church. I was looking for one of these. Anyway, to replace Toki, but it's perfect for K9 for Doctor Who. Because, of course, K9 for many years was Doctor Who's loyal metal companion. That was K with K, the letter K and the number 9, by the way. K9, very clever. Yes, I've got some more pictures of Toki. Actually, here he is, dressed up in Canada in his Darth doggy suit when we did the Darth Vader Star Wars episode. He's remembering the good times. Apparently he's missing me, although I'm not quite sure Arizona or Alabama knows that. Here's another one for all you Toki lovers out there. Look at that one, it's so cute. It's so cute, he's just tucking his little head out from under the duvet. Anyway, that was lovely to hear from him. And what I did was I sent him his Ewok costume from the Star Wars episode because there wasn't enough room in Alabama's case for it, so I posted it over with a little packet of tiny doggy bones. So he's going to get a nice little surprise if customs don't take the bones. I'm just going to have a drink of this Sublurdian goat's juice. It's a lovely little delicacy from a planet in the next galaxy along. I pop into from time to time. By the way, a word from our sponsors. Yoo-hoo, I always get that wrong. There's only one way I can get this wrong because it's a palindromic name and I always get it wrong. Hi, a word from our sponsors. Yoo-hoo, yes, Yoo-hoo are holding the sideburns on today, so we'll see how that goes. All this gear I amazingly got last minute yesterday from charity shops, and the jacket from Armstrong's, but again, good deal. This hat was the only thing I actually possessed that was anything big with Doctor Who, which was quite right. I think it's more of a Swiss yodeling hat, but anyway, it's close enough, close enough. The scarf I actually got from a charity shop. I cut it was a big blanket, and I cut it in half to make it long enough and gaffer taped it together, because gaffer tape sorts everything, yeah. And I actually dyed it. I bought some dye from a haberdashery. Never been in a haberdashery before. It's quite a riot of colour. Yeah, I bought this cheap dye, and you put it in the sink basin for an hour and stir it around with lots of salt, apparently. I did that, emptied it out, rinsed it, washed it, dried it, exactly as I said, and it came out exactly the same as it was before. I'm trying to make it brown, because I'm a stickler for details, so I'm trying to make it a little bit more authentic. Anyway, not bad for last minute on a Saturday. Now, there'll be lots of exciting things happening in this episode. For example, exterminate! Exterminate! The Doctor must be exterminated! Yes, we've got a Dalek just hiding off camera there. I built it myself. And we'll get the full thing in later. Oh, I totally forgot. I've got my button here. There's one episode where Doctor Who's got the button that's going to destroy the Daleks forever. The whole nation. All he has to do is goes back in time to when they're being first built, and he goes, I can't do it, because he can't destroy a whole. It's genocide of an entire nation of, even though they're evil creatures. So he doesn't press the button. But I'm going to press the button. Goodbye, Daleks. It's actually a smoke machine. Forgot to press it before starting. Never mind, there we go. There's some smoke. Some mists of time. Yeah, we'll come back to the Dalek later. Anyway, better play something. Here is a very appropriate set of tunes that I wrote many years ago called Timepieces. And I'll tell you about them afterwards. Let's get some more smoke before we do that. There we go. timepieces. Slightly fell out of time in the first one, but that is my job. Yeah, timepieces. They are actually quite. They're quite a straightforward time signature. They're actually in 4/4. Speaking of time, but they're not anything difficult at all. But just the way the accents come in and out, the syncopation makes it a little bit unusual. Sounds like they're different time signatures, but they're not. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy peasy. It's very hot being dressed as a doctor, by the way, because I don't normally need a scarf this time of year indoors. The air conditioning's gone wonky on the old TURDIS. Very unreliable these days, the TURDIS, so I'm just going to have to sweat here in front of you, and you'll probably watch these sideburns slide down and become a little double goatee or something. Now, what better than this time of the show than a jelly baby? Would you like one? Doctor Who's always eating jelly babies, although I'm not sure he buys his at Asda. I keep these in the car for if I have a hypo because I'm diabetic. So shouldn't really be eating these now because they're pure sugar. They're the best thing you can have apart from Lucozade or sugar tablets if you want to get your sugar levels back up. So I always carry some of these in the glove box. And they are delicious despite the fact it's a terrible thing to eat little babies. Look at that. Don't eat me! Don't eat me! Exterminate! Yes! You have been exterminated, little jelly baby. I'll see if the dog wants one. Be very surprised if he does. No, he's still got that little bone. So I'll just have to eat the jelly babies. Now I've also got here, the Doctor of course never goes anywhere without his sonic screwdriver. How do you like that? Sonic screwdriver. Very useful if you're attacking Daleks. Get back, exterminate. Really, I'm enjoying this too much, haven't I? Now, going to be a serious song today now, because it's all about time today, as you might guess from the timepieces that I just played as the introductory Doctor Who theme. What do you think of the Doctor Who theme, by the way? That is amazing. Delia Derbyshire, no, not Victoria Derbyshire, Delia Derbyshire. She was in charge of the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, and wow, what an incredible woman. She composed that theme. That was the original theme for the very first Doctor, William Hartnell. How many years ago that was? 1963, I think, the very first episode. So it's still going strong. Amazing. I know it's been changed. It's been manipulated over the years, but she came up with the first thing, and it's all composed using weird noises like sounds of like chalk scratching on a blackboard and all sorts of other things that they created. She made it all up, and she put together, and all of that. But she was a brilliant composer. A fantastic tune. Lots of other wonderful stuff she did. I remember hearing a programme on the radio about her. Really amazing woman. And although the BBC Radiophonic Workshop sounds amazing, I think it was just a cupboard somewhere in the bowels of the broadcasting house, and it just had all these bits of wires and equipment all over the place, and managed to make all this amazing music for all these so many programmes over the years. Wonderful establishment. And we do love the BBC, yes. So I was going to say, oh yes, so it's all about time, and the song that I've chosen for you, today's song, oh I know you're very excited to hear what song I'm going to be singing next, is all about time. It's called As Time Goes By. Yes, I've actually practiced this one, so I better get it right. I'm going to give you a little intro to try and warm myself up. Kiss is just a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you, on that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. 'Cause brother's mate, let no one. That's actually the hardest bit. Not bad. It's still the same old story. A fight for love and glory. A case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers time goes by. Moonlight and love songs never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Woman means man and man needs a mate. That no one can deny. It's still the same old story. A fight for love and glory. A case of do or die. The world will always welcome love. Can read the last word. As time goes by. Lovely. That was actually surprisingly good. Well, watch it back later, but it sounded better to me than most of the songs I've done so far this year. Must be getting better. Must be all this practice. Now, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, what about this for an authentic TURDIS appearing and disappearing sound? Oh my god! I am actually convinced that Victoria Derbyshire, no, Delia Derbyshire, who's the cook? Delia Smith. Delia Smith, yeah, Delia Derbyshire. How confusing, all these ladies with the same names, similar names. Delia Derbyshire, I bet she recorded the sound of recording. She went, this is the strangest instrument I've ever found lying in the BBC backroom instrumental cupboard. And let's use this to make a time machine. So, yeah, that is actually exactly what it sounds like. I can tell I've got too much time on my hands at the minute. Speaking of time on my hands, I've actually managed to, despite the huge amount of work that goes into making this show every week, there's huge production values and rehearsals, times, wardrobe, makeup. We run it again, just so that all goes smoothly. Lights, cameras, you won't believe the amount of work that's going on behind the scenes here. However, I've still managed to find time to release on my record label. Yes, I did the releasing bit. The hard work was done by the chap that made it all. This new album, which says blur, 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 but if you pull up to mirror, it says Love So Strong, and this is by the fantastic Davey Anderson, a friend of mine from Maybole, originally in Ayrshire, and he has just brought out this album on the Brechin Records label, and it's fantastic. It's got 11 songs on it, but 7 of them are 4 of them you'll recognise, 7 of them are brand new, written by Davey, including the title, not the title track, the first track, I Fell in Love in Battersea, which is absolutely fabulous, and it even features moi on the accordion, doing that kind of, but with music too, imitating the sound of the rolling waves crashing beaches. Anyway, an absolutely fabulous song, seriously. And I was so impressed when Davey sent me the song there in lockdown to ask me to put some accordion on it. I said I'd be interested in releasing it. We ended up releasing a whole album. So that's just come out. It's brand new. You can order it from the Brechin Records website, www.brechin-all-records.com. You've no idea how much problem I have spelling that out to people on the phone, particularly in Englandshire. Now, speaking of Englandshire, I got a lovely correspondence in the post this week from one of the regular viewers, Davey English. Some of you may recognise Davey's name because he wrote the wonderful little poem, the Ode to Toki, a few weeks ago that I put up on my Facebook page. I think it's still there. You can read it. It's very, very funny and very nice. And Davey's a bit of a poet, and he does know it. And he sent me a couple of poems here, but I've not got time to read them out in the show because there's too much amazing singing and stuff coming up. But he also sent me, this was after the Dad's Army episode. That's the wrong one. He sent me this clipping from the magazine as well, and he also sent me a tenner in an envelope to replace the funds that were used to buy dog biscuits and bananas for Toki. That's incredibly kind of you, Davey. Davey English there. Lovely, thank you so much for that. It's so kind of you. Now, just keep canine. Okay, because even as a robot dog, he needs attention, like all doggies. Isn't that brilliant? I think that's from the 1950s or something. Not even threadbare. It's fully furred. What was I going to do next? Right. Oh yes. Well, I've got another pieces that I wrote called Waltz in Time. The first one is it's called the Waltz in Time because I'm always late for everything, but not now that everything's digital. I seem to be bang on the button now because you have to be. So I suppose that's been good. One little good side effect of COVID. Anyway, the Waltz in Time is the first one, and the other one's called Kate Jorgensen's Waltz, and I think I played this months ago in one of the early versions of this show. God knows what I was dressed up as, you'll have to go back and research it if you could. But Kate Jorgensen was a woman I met only once. I met her only briefly for about 10 minutes at the Scandinavian Air Services, SAS, desk in Copenhagen Airport. After I realised I'd just missed my flight because I was an idiot and I had my watch set at the wrong time. I was an hour behind, and the flight left without me. Not that there's much flying happening now. This is a charming tale of reminiscing of times when one used to fly in planes. They were big things with wings that went up in the air, children. And yeah. So anyway, she managed to find me the last room of accommodation that was available in Copenhagen that night because there was a massive conference going on and I couldn't get in anywhere. And she rearranged for no extra charge a flight for me the next morning. She felt sorry for me because I was an idiot and I was stuck there with pretty much no money and an accordion. Which yeah, I've been in that situation a lot. I'm in it again now. Yeah, I wrote a tune for her. She doesn't even know it. Kate Jorgensen's Waltz. Somewhere, sometime, we will meet again, and I will present her with a copy of the waltz, and she'll go, "Police! This man is following me." Okay, here we go. lovely. The Waltz in Time and Kate Jurgens' waltz. While I was relaxing, reclining with these waltzes there, I just noticed on the side, I never looked at the K9 from the side. Look, some child scribbled on his wheel with purple crayon. I'm going to take him back. That's shocking. This is damaged goods. I won't be taking him back actually. I think you may actually see K9 in many more episodes of this show, disguised of course, like Toki was in many ways. Speaking of little Toki, God, I miss him so much, honestly, really. He wasn't even my dog, and he was only here for a year and a half. I got so attached to the little guy. I felt we really bonded, and yeah, I'm really missing him. I don't actually know how people cope with having a little doggy from like a puppy, and then it gets old and dies, of course, before we do, and it's really hard to deal with. I don't think I can cope with that. It's bad enough just having to say cheerio when he's going across the water. So yeah, all those of you with pets out there, I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to feel it. Anyway, time for more smoke. Atmospheric smoke. The mists of time. Yes, that's not a slow, silent, deadly fart coming from behind me. No, it is actually artificial smoke. In fact, it smells quite pleasant. I don't know what they put in that. They call it fog juice. Weird. You buy it like fuel. If you want your house full of fog. Actually, my lodger Tomoa, who is from Japan, was cooking late last night as I was practicing dressing up and getting the smoke ready for the advertising photo that I always put up every week. And the whole room was covered in smoke, but she was actually coughing. She was coughing like she had COVID. In fact, she had a COVID. She was waiting yesterday for a COVID result because she just flew back this morning. I took her down to the bus stop. I wasn't going to take her all the way to the airport. No, but it's a very heavy case, so I drove her down to the bus stop. And it's a very good bus service to the airport. It saves destroying the planet, fuel, burning unnecessary fuel. But anyway, so I was burning unnecessary fog juice last night, and she couldn't actually see what she was cooking because there was so much fog that drifted over to the kitchen. But it did look pretty spectacular, I can tell you. Anyway, she's not there now. She's gone. It's very sad. So anyway, hi Tomoa, because Tomoa is a big fan of the show. She's too afraid. No, she's not too afraid. She's too shy and polite to actually come in and sit and watch it live. For the last few months, she's just been. What's that? Oh. She sits in her room and watches it live on her screen instead. So it's much safer. Anyway, she's away. So, but she's a big fan of the show. She says she's going to watch it when she's back in Japan. So, hi Tomoa and to you and all your friends in the family. Now, what have we got? Oh, this is a cracker, yes. Another. I only discovered this 10 minutes before. I only thought about this 10 minutes before the show started, so you'll have to forgive me in advance. But what I'm going to do, this has been mentioned in another show, because I don't know if you remember the camera swinging round at Leith Harbour a few weeks ago to find me dressed as Admiral Nelson. Straddling a cannon, sir. Yes, I don't mind if I do. And there was a comment by my wonderful neighbour Fiona Allen who said that reminded her of a Cher music video for If I Could Turn Back Time. Now, what could be more appropriate on this show than a rendition of Cher's If I Could Turn Back Time? Now, as I say, I only thought about this 10 minutes before the show. It's a little bit tardy of me. Tardy! Haha! TURDIS! However, I'm going to try it. If I could turn back time, if I could, you wish you could turn back time before I start singing this. If I could find a way, I'd take back those words that hurt you, and you'd stay. I don't know why I did the things I did. I don't know why I said the things I said. I think all the time. But it's like a knife, it can get deep inside. Words are like weapons, they would sometimes. I really didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't want to see you go. I know I made you cry. But baby, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words that hurt you, and you'd stay. Oh, it's going quite well. If I could reach the stars, if only I was straddling a cannon, I'd give them all to you, and you'd love me like you used to do. If I could turn back time. stops there. Yeah. My world was shattered, I was torn apart, but someone took a knife and drove it deep in my heart. When you walked out that door, I swore I didn't care, but I lost everything, darling, then and there. Too strong to tell you I was sorry, too proud to tell you I was wrong. No, I was blind and darling, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words that had hurt you, you'd stay. If I could reach the stars, I'd give them all to you, and you'd love me like you used to do. If I could turn back time. Don't adjust your screens. That was just me pausing for effect there as if time had stopped. Pretty clever, I thought. Wow, that actually went really surprisingly well. I thought I was going to really mash that up, but no, it was fine. Well done, me. That was really excellent, Sandy. Thank you, Mr. Dalek. Don't you think the Dalek sounds a little bit like Toki? Oh yeah, I can eat that. I can eat that. Give me that little tiny bone. Yeah, I don't know. It's all getting a bit confused up there in my head. That reminds me of when I was a child. I was always right into Doctor Who, and there was every year the Scouts. I was a member of the Scouts. I was a Scout. That's what you call them. Scouts. I was a Scout. I was a Cub before that as well. Wasn't a Beaver. I didn't have them on Mondays. Thank God. I would hate to have been called a Beaver. Anyway, I was a Scout. The Scouts every year had a fancy dress competition. It was probably Halloween, and there was a couple of times. There was once I went with. I used to get my dad to build things because I really now like building things and doing all that stuff. But I don't know. I had lots of OCD as a kid. I didn't like doing finicky things with my fingers, so I would get my dad to do stuff. He was brilliant, even though he'd spend most of the day with his arm up a cow's arse. He was a bit, by the way. It wasn't the thing. He would come home after a hard day's work and turn his hands to building amazing things for me. And I asked him to make a K9, a real K9, which he did an incredible replica of, made out of polystyrene that he'd got from the local piggery down the road, where I ended up working years later as a teenager. And he made this amazing K9, and I went dressed as Doctor Who, but not quite as good as this, just like a sort of poor version of this. And you know, the other kids had made sort of like not very much effort. You know, I had made the most effort. And the other kids were a little bit jealous of K9. They would come and they would all sort of circle me and kick K9 until bits of them came off. So that wasn't very good. But and the next year I decided I would trump that and I would go as a full-size Dalek. So I went to my dad again and said, "Dad, can you build me a Dalek, please?" I was about 12 at this point, and he went, "Right, okay." But he ran out of time because he was too busy doing that kind of stuff. So he only got the bottom half of the Dalek made, but it was unbelievable. It was impressive. But he made it of wood. It was quite heavy, it was quite sturdy frame, and it was on casters so you could feel it around. And so he's running out of time, so I couldn't go to the Galaxy. So I thought, I know, I'll put a pair of my mum's tights over my head, as I was wont to do, and I'll go as Davros, you know, the evil lord of the Daleks, who's kind of like this guy that sits in the sort of bottom Dalek chair kind of thing. And again, I put little electric switches on it and stuff, and had little lights going up. And again, this didn't go down well with the other scouts in the village. And they all kind of circled around me. I thought they were all coming around to have a look at how good it was, but no, they were kicking it again. They were kicking it, and you know the little domes, they were made of polystyrene, the domes that were stuck all over it, they were kicking them in, kicking them off. And I was basically this really heavy Davros thing trying to escape round the church hall on the wooden floor, being chased by these other scouts, kicking the bits off my Dalek. It was really distressing. As you can see, I'm still quite damaged for it. Anyway, more smoke. Let's hide that memory in the mist of time. There we go. Right. Time for another jelly baby, I think. Oh, this show's falling apart. I have this time to stick it together. Stick it together with some gaffer tape. See how far I can rescue it now. Right, what am I going to do? Right, I'm going to play a little set tune called Press for Time, which is by the fabulous Gordon Duncan. Again, time. Oh, I just want to show you, by the way, I made the effort to do the full hog, the full Lunar, the full Monty. Look, I don't just sit there in my pyjama bottoms, although these do look like pyjama bottoms. These are actually Sherlock Holmes trousers. I stole them for Sherlock Holmes. That big bulge is just my keys, by the way, don't worry about it. In case I wander out, because in case somebody visits and I go outside, when I've got somebody at the window, sorry, I don't have anybody today. I go outside and then I'll lock myself out because I've got my keys on me. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but I've actually got the shoes and everything. So it's attention, that's kind of attention to detail that we have on this show. Yeah, I did actually ask my friend William Oak, who's been on the show before, to appear at the window today, kind of last minute. But he, what I was going to suggest was that he came as a Cyberman, just wrapped some silver foil around his head. And Cybermen have no emotions or feelings and can't understand humans. And I thought William would be absolutely excellent at that. But he was busy. He was going to a pop-up bar to get a takeaway. I think it was something to do with Captain's Bar being open temporarily to take takeaway drink today. So that was nice. I might head along there myself after this show. Anyway, no show out the window today. Next time, we've got no giant man-sized tigers at the window today. That was spectacular last week. Thank you, Paul Robinson, for that unexpected showing. Now, there's one other thing I did want to mention this week, and it is a little bit serious because wonderful friend Bob Turner, who plays keyboards in the Kylie Minogue band I mentioned last week, was in hospital. Actually passed away with the virus this week. It's awful, and there's a whole pile of people in the music world like myself still coming to terms with it. Going to be terribly missed. A lovely chap, very funny, very cheery, and nobody played the keyboards quite like him, to be honest. The band will never be the same again, and he'll be sadly missed. So I thought that I would play as the final track today in tribute to Bob, as he was called. A set from Kylie Minogue, which is one of the Kylie bands that I dip with sometimes when Gregor Lowry, their normal accordion player, is not available. This is just a wee Gay Gordon set that we usually start with, and all the best, Bob. To miss out a tune in the middle of that, yes, well, very appropriate because Bob Turner will be sadly missed. That was for you, Bob, and we're going to miss you. Thank you for watching, folks. You've been watching an episode in time with me, Sandy Brechin, and Canine, the very unentertaining but incredibly talented robot dog. We'll be back next week with some other crazy idea that I will no doubt think of again last minute and try and scrape together a show from bits of rubbish. That's bits of rubbish from charity shops and bits of rubbish mentally from the backyard of my brain. Oh, I could do a West Country one next week. Yes, so cheerio. And what we're going to finish in true Doctor Who style by the TURDIS, which is this device, which is by weird interspatial dimensions is actually outside me, but we are also inside it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the Mists of Time, and I'm going to make the TARDIS set it off, and we're going to hopefully go back to 2019 before all this happened, and we had gigs and we could go to the pubs and stuff like that. Goodbye. I'm going, I'm disappearing. Oops. It doesn't work upside down. And finish. Jeez. Oh my god, the smoke machine's on fire. The smoke machine's on fire. Ah! Oh my god, Doctor. Ah! Oh my god! Switched off. How's it puffing at me? That is unbelievable. It's got a mind of its own. Well, that's the second outing for my smoke machine this year. I guess a gig's a gig. Oh god, I've left that one again.